Zacks Rank Buys, stocks with a short-term buy or strong buy recommendation. Now, here are more Zacks Rank Buys. A couple of more interesting value stock picks now with Tracey Ryniec, our value stock strategist here at Zacks.com. Wyndham Worldwide is the first one, WYN, that's the hotel company.
Yep.
I was kind of surprised to learn that they operate 55 brands.
I know. They're much bigger than you think. Yeah, they're not just Wyndham, but they also have Ramada, Days Inn, Super 8, a whole bunch of chains I don't even know, like all around the world. Mm-hmm. But they also are really big in the timeshares too, which I didn't even realize. A huge chunk of their business, yeah. That's also global. But both areas are doing real well right now. They actually, in July, reported their second quarter results, and they beat again. And I put up this kind of interesting chart because they've surprised 20 consecutive quarters, so going back to 2006. So during the entire recession, they keep surprising, which is like very hard to do in any kind of market conditions, let alone like what we've seen with the global economy.
Yeah.
So this is a very exciting chart for those of us who look at the earnings surprises. But they also, it was just a really good quarter. Revenue was up. Their revenue per available hotel rooms was up almost 10%. Mm-hmm. The timeshare segment was up 28% on the revenues, and they raised guidance. So, things look good for them. This was in July. They said this going forward for the second half of the year. Obviously, consumers are still traveling, and they're getting the business travelers back. So both those things are good. And then if you look at the overall chart, you can see that they really had a kind of like a panic sell-off in one of the big August sell-offs that we had. And so the shares have rebounded a little bit off that, but it is somewhat of a buying opportunity here because it's made the stock cheaper as the estimates are going up. It's trading only about 13 times. So, if you're into the consumer and betting on the consumer and who still wants to travel, this could be an interesting buy here.
All right, and then you also had your eyes on Sotheby's lately. BID, B-I-D, the ticker symbol, appropriately enough, because this is the old auction house.
Yeah. They've been around for forever, since 1744, and I learned an interesting thing about them. I like this stuff. They're the oldest publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange. But interestingly enough, they just had a record quarter, like the best in that 267-year history, just in the second quarter.
So everybody's selling their art collection to make money?
Well, that, and then everybody's buying, especially in the emerging markets. They saw a big increase at all their 4 sales studios. They have these set places, London, New York, Paris, and Hong Kong. Right. And then they do auction in other places too, but those are their main galleries, basically. But they saw an increase at all 4 of them, but especially obviously in China. So the Hong Kong market is doing really well. The wealthy Chinese have decided now is the time to buy various artworks, and then both Chinese and European masters. So they're doing well across the board.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. They didn't give guidance estimates, but they did sound really bullish about the second half of the year. You can see the estimates going up here. So the analysts definitely liked what they heard. They're supposed to see earnings growth of about 20% this year. And then if you look at the chart here, it's a little more interesting because they started selling off in July. I don't know what that was about, but they've gotten a lot cheaper in the recent, from there. And then they saw another double dip down in August, and they're trading about 11 times. So for a company that just had a record quarter and, is seeing kind of gangbuster results, I would say, they're a very attractive value stock.
Yeah, that's interesting because that whole collecting industry can sometimes have a volatility all its own.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we saw that in the Great Recession too, where people were just basically not buying anything. But right now, apparently a lot of the higher bracket people believe that artwork at least could be a source of safety maybe in these kind of rocky times.
Yeah, more hard assets.
Yeah.
All right, do you own either of these?
I do not.
Okay, check out other stock pick suggestions, ideas for your perusal on our homepage, Zacks.com, if you're not there already, because we put 4 new ones up there for you each business day, one in each of the investing categories that we write about. With Tracey Ryniec, I'm Terry Ruffalo.